Perfect. Okay. So let's dig in, shall we? So one of the things that I think it's really important as we look forward to Q2, Q3, really back half of the year is assessing Q1. Right? I mean, we need to assess kind of how we ended Q1. So I would love to hear, and listen, I want this to be an open forum. Please unmute yourself. Like, you don't have to type in the chat. There's a small enough group in here. I really want to get real with Q1. Like, how was your Q1? And I don't want to like go down a rabbit hole, and let's focus on what didn't work. Let's focus on what did work. So I'm going to start with, okay, who wants to share something that really worked for you personally or for your team in Q1 that you're going to take into Q2?
I'll share something that I started the year not doing, and then halfway through Q1 decided to start doing again, and it just changed the game for me. So y'all probably know Q4 was rough for me. I had all these like mind things that I was going through. And so I went into Q1 thinking like, okay, I'm not going to be the aggressive leader. I'm not going to force goals on my coaches, and I'm going to let them work at their own pace. Well, that is just not the greatest way to be a leader, because what I found was when I decided to lead that way out of my own insecurities, my coaches were doing nothing. Like my January coaches, nothing. It was just January was like a terrible month. I think my rank was like 794 or something like that, which was just crazy. And then I was like, I finally started getting more confident thanks to Jeanette, who helped me work through tons of mindset stuff. But I started going back into the leadership role where I was giving my coaches their goals. So February, I recruited some new coaches. I laid the goals out for them. I said, your goal is to help 3 people. Your goal is to become a success starter, which is how I kind of led my 2020 and 2021. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing my team start hitting Success Club. It's amazing that when you give your new coaches their goals and a roadmap and they know what they need to hit, they start to make movement. But when you lead with insecurities, like how I led my January, saying, I'm just going to let my coaches do their own thing and figure it out. I'm not going to force my goals on them. They do nothing. So that's something that I'm definitely planning to take into Q2 is just continuing to give my new coaches the new coach goals from day one and not be afraid or ashamed of holding it back. I'm just going to let them know this is what you need to do to build a business, and you're either going to do it or you're not. So don't let yourself get into that wacky mindset of I'm not going to force goals on my coaches. I'm going to tiptoe. I'm going to baby them, because that's just not what they need to grow a successful business.
Can I ask you a question, Morgan? So with like laying out these goals for your new coaches, so I haven't been recruiting like super high numbers of new coaches in Q1. And that's definitely a focus of mine in Q2 is to bring on new coaches. But that's like my area that I'm lacking is getting them started quickly. And we all know that that's like so crucial for them to feel confident and have that momentum. So are you like, you kind of use these buzzwords of like the roadmap and laying out, to Success Club and success starters. Are you spoon feeding them something, giving them something? So I'm like running like a new coach mentorship and we're talking about the things, and like I did like a cash pot one month. What are you doing?
Yeah. So my new coach training is a roadmap. I can send it to you guys. I have it on my Google Drive right here. It's basically just a 1 through 12. Here's what you need to do to build a successful business. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to lay it out there for you. And so that's like the first thing I give my new coaches is that roadmap. And in there is a link to like a super short self-paced new coach training, which it's like literally nothing. It's like a power hour and the biz tracker and little stuff like that. But I think where my coaches are finding the most success and where I'm able to mentor them best is I lead 4 new coach calls. So I recruit at the end of the month. So that's starting on April 1st. I can start all of my new coaches in a group with week 1 mentorship, week 2, week 3, week 4. And so the 30 minutes before my team call, I'm hosting a 30-minute new coach call. And I feel like that has been a game changer for me because I don't like to do one-on-one mentoring. I'm a busy mom. I've got a life to live. I'm here to have freedom in my life. So I don't offer one-on-ones to my coaches, but that 30 minutes, those 4 30-minute calls before team call, I think is really where they're able to like we're able to talk about the goals, share best practices, and really get that hype around helping those 3 people. Because I think when they all are like talking about it, I also do put them in like a new chat. So every month I'm putting like a new coach chat together. So does that answer your question? I can share the roadmap with you.
Janine, good? Yeah, super helpful.
Super helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
So Morgan, question for you on this. I think that's brilliant, actually, having 4 calls prior to the team call, to your point. So number 1, there's not another team call for you and or for them. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So what does the participation look like on those calls?
So I kind of have built a culture where it's kind of required.
Okay, well, that's why
like I don't actually
yeah.
say that, but I make it very known. I tell my new coaches that my most successful coaches are the ones that are hopping on team call, asking me all the questions, getting on our new coach call. So I kind of set the standard of you have to be on this call. And if you don't, you're suffering in your business. But I say it in a nice way so that it doesn't seem like that. So participation is usually pretty high because I hype it up. I make it exciting for them. I make it feel like this is the bread and butter. This is where you're going to learn and grow. And each of the 4 weeks are different topics. And I go through the 4 calls every single month. And it's actually what I did all through 2021. So it's kind of a process I've been using, but towards Q4, I dropped every single one of my systems. And so I'm just kind of bringing it back. And I'm actually in Melanie Mitro's higher level leadership mastermind. And I found out that this is what Melanie Mitro did through her whole entire business. So it works.
Awesome. Morgan, thank you for sharing. I think that's really, that's gold, girls. Like that's really, really key. Okay. Yes, Jessie.
Do you do the new coach calls? Like, do you open it up for all new coaches in your downline, or are you doing just your PS coaches?
Yeah, I do open it up to my downline. I give my downline my roadmap in the editable version so that they can put their own team name on it, so they can make it their own, because I really want to encourage leadership growth in my downline. So I don't want to just give a version that says like, we make your dynasty and make them feel like they're a part of my stuff. So I really do try and push my leaders to do it themselves. But of course, there are those newer leaders that don't feel comfortable with that quite yet. And so I do open it up to those people. But I have a Google Drive for my leaders that gives them like my call outlines for each of those 4 calls and the editable version of my new coach training and my roadmap so that they can fully make it their own, like duplicate that system.
Great. Morgan, thank you so much for sharing. All right. How about?
So for me, just showing up and adding value to my coach chat every single day, telling them what I'm doing, what I'm choosing to believe. I do talk about the struggles and I do talk about the failures and how I overcome it. And importantly, I don't have any expectations of them to get, to be in that chat, talking, nothing. I go in, I add value, and that makes me feel good. And that makes me feel like, you know what, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. They take it, great. They don't, it doesn't matter. Keep going.
So that worked for you, Jeanette, for Q1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. April. Okay. Talk, girl. Can you talk or can you not talk? Oh, there she is. There she is. Come on, April.
Hi, I was supposed to just start my workout with my sister and brother-in-law, and I was like, okay, I'm on my way. And I was going to listen at the same time, but for some reason my headphones aren't working. So they'll just wait on me. But yeah, my big thing is same thing as Morgan, as I have like a super simple checklist, and then it's editable that they can go through and do that. And then like my brand new coaches can send that. I have a general one that they don't even have to edit. They can just send. And then in the new coach pod each day, I always send voice messages for my invites and my follow-up. So I will just forward it to them and I'll say, hey, this is a new invite, or hey, this is an invite to somebody who was watching my stories, or this is a follow-up to somebody I've talked to 2 months ago. So every day I share that, because then it's, they hear how I'm doing it. And then I am really it's like, keeping me accountable to be doing it too. The other thing is I just always tell them, because this is how I learned, is take screenshots. Send me screenshots. I'm never going to be annoyed to respond to it, because I don't take a ton of time to like type it out. I send them a voice clip back and they write it out what I said. And then I say, save that to the note section of your phone so you don't have to ask me that next time. But and if they ask me a question, I say, that's a really great question. Can you ask it to me in our new coach pod so I can answer in one place? So, and last night, the other thing is like with silly questions and things, I had a girl last night that's a success starter that was asking me about like what container something is. And I said, I would love to answer your question, but honestly, I would be sitting here answering every single coach's random question and never able to work my business. And I don't want you to have to feel like you're doing that with your coaches. So don't take this the wrong way, but I would Google it for you if that's what I was doing. So I'm also really trying to work on empowering because I feel like I was doing too much before for them. So trying to break that cycle.
Awesome. April, thank you. That's good. That's really good. Not only that, you're teaching them how to be resourceful. So to your point, so they don't always come to you for those questions. They can reach out to each other, just like we do with our 5 to 8 star thread. That's great. Ooh, Morgan. Okay. So you're putting the topics in there. Thank you. Thanks, girl. Okay. And thank you for setting obviously your roadmap and sharing that with the team here too. That's really helpful. Okay. What else worked for some of you for Q1?
From a client perspective, and I don't know if anybody else does this, and maybe I was just late to the game, but I have a huge accountability group, boot camp, challenge group, whatever you want to call it, for my entire downline should they want to use it. It's massive, and we have a lot of good energy in it. But what we've started doing is doing a lot of like break off chat pods, utilizing Facebook Messenger. So there's kind of like a team captain, whether or not it's a coach or just like, a lifer client that's been with us. And we've been dabbling with doing it very program specific. So like I just started MBF yesterday, and I have like an amazing like group of like 25 women all doing it together, and it's so hype. And then I can share like all these testimonials on my stories every single day. But now we're kind of like dabbling with the idea of expanding that to like workout times, time zones and things like that. But what I really see in these groups is I see what clients are rising and doing a lot of the things that coaches are doing, whether they're my clients or not. Because, I'll pull from other people's clients if they're doing the same program that I am, but not their coach. And then also I'm noticing more and more people are trying our products, because then they'll see us kind of like chatting, like I'm so freaking sore from day one of MBF, and I'm like living and breathing off of Recover right now. Now we're talking about, oh, I haven't tried it. Do you like the vegan? Do you like this flavor? Things like that. And so it's just a good way to start, really talking about products to boost that volume.
That's good.
I love that. That reminded me something that we did as a big team in Q1. It was like 4 of us, like leaders of kind of our big team, not our clients, but our coaches. We kind of did our own team cup in March. We called it Team Up Olympics, even though it was after the Olympics. We pulled everyone together, but it brought so much energy, and our team's been struggling just with that like low energy as a whole. And we got everyone on a call, and we literally drew names in like a random name picker that would spin the wheel. And we all sat there for 30 minutes waiting, and we drew. So like, I didn't have anyone on my team connected with me. I had like 4 random people. So it wasn't by rank. And I feel like so many times when we pod people up, it's by rank or how long they've been here. And we literally didn't give them anything. It wasn't like, okay, now you have to turn in your tracker every day. It wasn't like a group. We did not give any extra training. We literally just said, these are your people, like collab with them. And we had a point system based on Success Club points, but also on like, are you signed up for a summit? Did you sign up a PC or a new coach? And it was like bonus points. Like every Thursday I would drop a bonus in the team page. So again, like not a group, just drop a bonus. And I'm like, hey, go follow up with 10 people. And when all 4 people on your team, drop that in the comments. So it was like so low level. Whereas I think sometimes when we try to do like groups or pushes, it's like so much content, people are afraid of it. This was super chill. And then at the end, we tallied up all the points, and it just gave like little gifts, like PD books, tank tops, like the main team got like a ring light, just like some fun gifts. And because it was 4 of us, we kind of split the cost of that. But what was really cool is on the last night, like Sunday, I guess the first. Okay. When she's in a giant t-shirt, guys, it's just how we live life. Okay. Like, who cares? What we did at like the celebration night is everyone started to share just their wins from the month. And there were a lot of people that didn't even hit Success Club, but they were like, this was so great. I worked my business for the first time in a long time because of the girls in my little chat, like, hey, I actually showed up every day because of the girls in my chat. And it was just really cool to see, because it's like, I think there's validity in saying, hey, here's our expectations. But every once in a while, I think it's really fun to toss out there's really like no expectations, but there are expectations. It was like a weird balance of, we want you to work toward these points. At the same time, it's not like you didn't win if you didn't hit Success Club. That's probably what I'm trying to say. That was probably the difference between Team Cup and what we did. It wasn't like the team had to hit Success Club in order to win the total prize. There were so many other ways to earn points. So that actually like really helped our team. They all like were so re-energized.
And Whit, I think you bring up a good point. I think so many times we're all focused on having our team hit Success Club. What if they've got a couple of points on the board? Like, what if you had 40, 50, 20, whatever that number is, if they didn't hit SC5, that's okay. But at least if they've got points on the board, they're showing progress. Like, they're doing something. So what are we doing to continue to encourage that so that you can scale that in your entire downline and not just necessarily focus on just your PS coaches? It's everyone. And I know Julie Boris did something. It was called Fate. It was literally called Face on the Board. Like, that was it. It wasn't anything catchy or anything, create, but it was called Face on the Board. And she would literally every single week do an incentive for her entire downline. If they had 1 point, 2 points, whatever, she'd put their face on the board, and it was brilliant. Do you know how many people just wanted their face like on a leaderboard? For 1 point, 2, it doesn't matter. So Julie did that. And I will tell you, she got a lot of momentum on her team because of that. A lot more people engaged because of that. And, I think it's just really important is, how do we impact and affect the masses with, going back to, hey, here's the floor, here's the floor, here's the ceiling. Let's just get you to level up, whatever that is. So I love it, Whit. Thank you.
I love taking that idea because I did something kind of not necessarily around Success Club in March, but I like taking it now, doing like a spin-off of that. So I really appreciate you sharing. But we did like a March Madness challenge. And I think Sammy Hoffines shared this on whatever hot seat she was on a couple months ago for us, where it was a $10 cash buy-in, and it was proof of 15 for 5 days out of the week. And we did it for the entire month of March, and their proof of 15 could either be new connection messages, invites, or follow-ups. And they had to send us their business activity tracker every single day, as well as their 15. And so they either had to type out every single name, or write them down. For a lot of people, they didn't pen and paper was very new to them, but it was able to they could label them and take little notes. And I found so much that people were saying, I've never been so consistent. And it's we weren't asking you to do anything new in your business. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just talking to people and doing their actual job. It was just that accountability piece. And so we were all checking in every single day, sharing tips, momentum, things like that. And then whoever hit Success Club at the end of the month then got to split the pot. But then we got to talk about mindset at the end of the month of oh, but I'm not hitting Success Club, but I was so consistent, and then sharing those wins. And then the first week of April, how many people now have Success Club points on the board because of what they did in March? And so it was really fun and eye-opening. And we had a couple coaches share on our team call last week, just about the momentum that they have just from being consistent.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Janine. So good. So good. Anyone else want to share what worked for you in Q1, or let's focus on the positive? What worked? What do you plan on either continuing? I always do start, stop, and continue, right? What do you want to start doing? What do you want to stop doing? What are you going to continue to do? So what are you going to continue to do? Let's say that worked for you in Q1 that you're going to continue to do in Q2 and beyond. Maybe somebody that hasn't shared.
Oh, sorry.
Or whatever, somebody that, it doesn't matter, either one.
The boards for the customers, they love that. Every Monday, there's a board of how many workouts. I give them a shout out on my stories, and they love that. And they'll be like, "But I logged it in," and then I sometimes there's glitches on the tracking, and they take it so seriously. Like, I worked out 7 times. Make sure I'm on the board. So that's working.
Okay, great.
I started using the text messaging service in Q1, and that is literally like
Okay.
has been a game changer for me. Just connecting with my clients. I still need to like Morgan, I'm using the textp2p.com. He's a Beachbody coach. I forget his name. I think it's Greg.
It's Greg Armfield. Yeah, Greg Armfield.
And he's super helpful. The hardest part about it was like getting things like first set up. My assistant helped do it, but he answered like everything. So now when a client gets set up with me, instead of getting like the 7 steps in an email, they get a sequence. So they get the first message, and then when they do it, they respond, and then they get the second one. When they do that, they respond, they get it. So their prep week is so much easier. And I have found my clients actually do it now, because I think when they're getting that just like email, they looked at it and it was all these steps and they weren't doing it. But now it's like they have tangible steps. It's like 1, maybe 2 things to do. And then it says, okay, respond done when you're this. There's a code word for like each one. And I've had way more success with people doing their prep week, but also it's so much easier to just go in and shoot everybody a text message at the same time. So sometimes I'll put their name in, like you can have their name in there. And like today I went in, and for everyone in gut protocol, I went and sent a message to all of them and said like, hey, we're officially in week 3. Like, how are you feeling? And wrote a quick message, and it goes out to all of them. But it's like, it saves me time. And I feel like it connects me so much more with them, because you're always going to have people that don't log in the bad groups or don't like speak up in there. And I have found that with the texting, they think that's like my regular cell phone number. It's an 847 area code. You pick your area code for the town you live in. But they respond, they can message me on there, and they also know that like I set business hours, so I don't have to respond. Like I check it in the morning, I check it in the evening, and usually during nap. But otherwise, like if someone messages me at 10 o'clock, I don't have to respond. So I just feel like it's helped me feel like a better coach too. Like I'm holding people more accountable and meeting them where they're at, because I hate emails. I'll be completely honest. Like I ignore emails all the time. There's just so many. So getting a text message for me works better. And I feel like it's helped my clients a ton.
Yeah. Okay. So that's so good. So, okay. Just show of hands. I want to see who is actually using a texting service right now. Raise your hand if you are. So Alicia, Janine, 1, 2, Cassidy, kind of, Dylan. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So what questions for those that don't, what would you say? I mean, obviously, why should someone do this? Because it is kind of pricey, right, Jesse?
Honestly, I only pay like $22 a month. So it's not,
Okay.
I'm not paying anything crazy. Like I'm paying $22 a month, and I can text, and it's not, I don't know. I don't think that's that pricey.
No.
Yeah,
No,
to be able to get it out. I do think some of them are more expensive. His
Right.
really isn't. And he lets you set up the sequences, which for me is huge.
Okay.
So like I have a gut protocol one, and then I have a fit club that everybody's in like after they go through a program. So they go through the boot camp, and then they go into whichever group. And I always just have it super simple. Like I go in, click everyone from gut protocol. It's just a button. You click it, and then you send it. Same with my fit club. Like right before April started, I'm using Morgan's content,
Yeah.
which I highly recommend if you guys aren't using it. It's amazing. But I'm using her content. And when I went to go tell everyone right before April started, I sent a message to everyone in my fit club and said, here's our focus for the month. This is what it's going to look like. And it got my girls excited for the month versus me just putting up a post in the group. And I even had a post that like didn't go off for some reason. And someone like messaged me and was like, hey, I didn't see the post today. And I used to never have stuff like that happen. So I know it's helping my clients feel more excited about the month and know what to expect and what we're focusing on as well. And it's just so much easier being able to like get all the messages out in one instead of sitting there trying to go to someone's Instagram and their email and figuring out what form of communication they wanted you to, contact them with.
Okay, Jesse, thank you. Any questions specific for Jesse or Alicia or some of the others that are actually utilizing the texting service?
Yeah, I have a question. So Cass, you said that I can take my workflows from Flowdesk and put them on to Text P2P. Like I don't even have to edit them. I can just take what I've already built out and move it over.
I don't know. Jesse said yes on that. What I know is that your P2P workflows, like you can export, and so then you could give them to your coaches if like they're wanting to start a texting service as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But
Okay.
Jessie was nodding her head. So is it a yes that you can export?
The sequence I used in Flowdesk, you can transfer it over, but we had to put them in, like, you can't just like click it and transfer. You have to just like copy and paste.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Okay,
getting that
cool.
initially set up was the first thing. We just didn't really know how to like actually do it. But once you figure it out, it's super easy. So if you need help doing it, then it's like every single person goes in there and your sequence is going off and set up, and it's so much easier.
Wow, that's so nice.
And can I confirm your phone isn't blowing up all day? Like you can set it to something else?
So you have a choice. I think it's like an extra $1 per text or something. So that's where it could get pricey if you want it sent to your cell phone. I chose not to have it sent to my cell phone. So the only time I check it is when I go log into the site, and I use it as one of my business activity track, like things that I have to check off every day. So I for sure check it twice a day, and then sometimes 3 times. Depending if my son naps or not, but otherwise I don't get the messages to my cell phone. I didn't want to be tied down to where people are messaging me all the time. And I then always feel like, oh, I need to respond, or I stop and I'm like, I'll respond really quick. They just have a quick question. So this also helps me as a business owner. Like I have to log into the website and go check, or I don't get their messages. And it kind of like separates being a mom and a business for me, which I like.
love that. That's why I've not done it. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thanks,
I-
Jesse. Yeah,
I
Jeanette.
respond through my personal text, my phone number, because it gets very expensive. So if you communicate back, they charges you. So I go in and then I respond. I'm like, hey, it's Jeanette. So that way you keep it affordable.
Yeah, I use Scipio. It is a little bit more expensive. It's like $200 a month, depending on however many people you have in there, but I have like 10,000 people in there. So obviously it's going to be a lot more expensive when you have more contacts. But for Scipio, it's nice because you can do the same thing with the workflows, but then you can also do like hey, if you text this, whatever phrase to this number, then it starts the workflow. But you don't get charged for the ins and outs. So, and it can go to your phone as well. So you don't get charged that. The only thing that you're charged are the scheduled text messages, and you get like 5,000 free scheduled a month. So it's definitely a lot easier when you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to, talk to 5,000 people this month or 10,000 people, whatever the number is. But it's a large amount of text messages that are scheduled, and I never hit that max that's in there. But the ends, like just going out and in, just live texting, it never cost me anything extra. So it's always been just one cost. So it's more, but I mean, it's also more convenient. And I always put it on mute for my app on my phone. So if I get the notifications, I just respond in my business hours.
Okay, I think a lot of you that are using the texting service are really influencing those that aren't using it. Maybe they're really reconsidering, how do I make the most effective use of my time? And this, it sounds like it's working for the vast majority, right? I mean, it sounds like it is. So
And
yeah.
I was like Cassidy, I had it and I wasn't really using it or utilizing it. I mean, it took me 6 months to finally be like, okay, I'm going to give this a real shot. And then went in, and now I've like for the last few months just absolutely loved it and find that it really makes a huge difference in your business, I think.
Okay. So
can I say something really quick? So I was talking to my assistant. I've been in and out because I'm trying to make my lunch, but I was talking to my assistant, and she was saying she's going to help me set up like a coach sneak peek that goes through text P2P. So where I can be like, text this number if you want to learn more about coaching, and it'll be like an automated, I haven't done it yet, so I can't say like if it's awesome, but yeah, so then it'll be like an automated, here's all the details about coaching, and they can ask questions and stuff like that. So I usually send, and it's in YouTube links. Yeah. So I usually do that like in an email or through Instagram or whatever. So I'll be interested to kind of see. I'm always down to like try new things. So I'll be interested to see how that is.
Yeah, Dylan, that's good. Is anyone actually doing that right now that has that? The ones that are actually utilizing the service, is anyone doing that right now? No. Alicia, you by chance? Jesse?
No, I used to, but I found that nobody was really using it. Just like the links and stories. Not a lot of people click on links and stories. And so if it wasn't getting used, I just would rather just go text people personally. But I text per group too. Like just like with my bod group, I could send a quick check-in once a week with my bod group. I do the orders. So my assistant will go in every Friday, and anybody that's ordered in that past week, she schedules out a text message saying, oh, like, so awesome. Here's our bod group. Make sure to come join. And then has like the scheduled text messages each week to go out of like, oh, should be shipping soon. Or, oh, have you gotten it yet? Have you started? So it just really helps having those little check-ins too with my customers that normally would never respond, or they're not on social media either.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Dylan, like, let us know how it goes. Once you get it set up. Yeah, that'd be great.
So one thing that I just thought of that I did last month is kind of similar, although Dylan's method is way smarter. So I'm going to try that. But something I did last month was I did a coach sneak peek through the coach friends list on stories. Y'all know how we can do like the close friends on Instagram. So I took out all the personal people that I had on my close friends, and I put all the people who responded to one of my polls of wanting to be in a coach sneak peek. And I did the coach sneak peek just on my stories and only sent that information to the close friends list. And it was really effective because I got to see who was watching every single one. And so I got to kind of keep tally of like those that were really interested. I got to follow up, and it allowed me to give them like more specific content that was directed towards obviously selling them on the business opportunity, versus just like my everyday story content. So from here on out, what I plan to do with my close friends list is keep it like women that I'm trying to recruit to my team, and give them like specific coach recruitment content outside of just like my everyday content, instead of using it just for like my close friends and family, which is what I used to do. Now I'm like, actually, I'm going to flip the switch and use it for business purposes. So they do know that they're a part of that, Whitney, which I also think is a benefit, because then they're like, oh, Morgan added me to her close friend list. Like, this is cool. You know, it's kind of like that extra layer of like, oh, I'm so honored that I'm part of her close friends. So not only are they seeing that I'm a close friend, but I'm also able to give specific content throughout my day that's more directed towards, you know, obviously pulling people into the coaching opportunity and running a specific sneak peek.
Ooh, okay. That's good, Morgan. So we talked about what's working for Q1. Let's talk about maybe something we learned about Q1 that we're not going to do Q1, or that we need to pivot a little bit into moving into Q2. Maybe
One thing that I'm going to take into Q2 is just reminding myself that other people's goals are not a reflection on mine. Like, if other people quit the business and decide that Beachbody is not for them, that doesn't mean I need to get into my own head and say, well, what do they see that I'm not seeing? Maybe this isn't for me either. And I just have to remind myself to stay in my own lane and just know that, you know, people will always come and go, and it's all right. It's just the process, and just got to have that thick skin.
Well, it's the business too, unfortunately. It's all part of it. So yeah, Morgan, that's good. Okay. So just shift of mindset for sure. And don't take that personally as a leader, because I think we do that. It is a relationship business, and we do take that personal, because it's like, what have I done? And it's not necessarily a reflection on you. It's just a reflection on their decision and the choices that they're deciding to make. So yeah. No.
Here's something I learned recently that I've never done. I've never reached out to coaches when I see a lot of cancellations coming in from their account with preferred customers. And someone just slowed down a lot. And I went back, and she was getting a lot of cancellations. So what I'm going to add is really reaching out to these coaches and really be like, hey, nothing's gone wrong. This is part of the business. what are you thinking about this? What are your thoughts right now? Because I see us, when that happens, I see just downhill spiral with these coaches.
Okay. Farron, Julie, Chris, share some things maybe that you try to implement, or maybe you're going to change moving into Q2 and beyond. Would love to hear from some of you that I haven't heard from yet, or that we haven't heard from yet.
We did, for the month of March, we did push for power greens, seeing March is green. So I posted every week in the team page to encourage coaches to purchase and encourage them to get customers to purchase. And they had to put their order in the comment. And if they did, at the end of the month, I did a raffle and I actually gave a tub of power greens. So this month we're going to do bevy because it came up on sale. So, and then I just put a reminder every week, and even if it's just to push volume a little bit more. So focusing on that. Trying to think what else. I think the posting calendar that we started, I think it was before the first of the year. And I think that's really helped coaches. But I think I need to, have a conversation with them. Are you still doing that? I mean, I'm doing it personally, but is everybody else doing it? Because you know how we start something and then we stop, and it's all a great idea. And then all of a sudden, nobody's doing it anymore. So, and then I implemented a new coach training, but you need new coaches to go through the new coach training. So, yes, working on that. And, I think it's just, I'm at the point too, Morgan, where coaches are falling out and canceling. And, this is the first time this quarter that I actually lost my 2-star bonus in years. So that was pretty eye-opening. But then I also said, I'm not going to let this, it makes me crazy because I feel like, oh, that's easy money. And, but I said, I'm not going to worry. I can't make myself crazy about, okay, well, I missed out on this money and that, and it's not just about the money. And I got to figure out what's not working with the coaches and really get them focused on their business. And a lot of it is just finding new people. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And finding people who want to work. And I think that's probably the biggest struggle.
Yeah. Chris, thanks for sharing. Obviously some volume driving activity, some ideas there. So thank you.
So I think too, because I started the year with having a star diamond. Well, she was almost 3-star diamond and several star diamonds underneath her, basically leaving and going to another company and just coaching within the downline. So I think mindset is so key, because at first you're like, what the heck? And you just feel so hurt because you thought you were friends. And then for them to kind of backstab you and then poach within the team, you're seriously, have some integrity. And not the kind of person that I would want on my team anyway. But then I had to be okay, how can I find the joy and the fun in this? Because I think at the end of the day, that's really why a lot of people did leave, because, they weren't making money. They weren't having fun with it. They just felt repetitive. So I started just at 6 a.m. We wake up at 6 to work. You can do your power hour, you can work out, and just making it more fun. I also use Morgan's Coach Bestie stuff and just the team content. So amazing to just to get more together and having more communication with each other and learning what people love and just more about each other has always been amazing, and just connecting in a real and genuine way. And sometimes for me, I'm an Enneagram 3 and I'm very much a straight to the point. So I just need Morgan's words sometimes to best help connect to that emotional side. And then also I did I'm going to help 5 people in my downline. So I went to my PS coaches and I said, I'm going to help 3 people. They had to fill out a form. And then I said, for my downline, I'm going to help 5 to work personally one-on-one. My PS coaches, none of them wanted to work the business. So I was okay, I am starting brand new. I'm going to create my own diamond team myself this year. And every single month, that's kind of my goal, is go diamond over and over again. It just kind of lit that fire within me. But then I had exactly 5 people in my downline. I was like, okay, this is perfect. But with those 5 people, I just put them into a chat pod. And it's been so great because one, they're communicating with each other of just, hey, like so many of them cried yesterday for some reason. Their moms, they're just like overwhelmed. They cried. And I was like, you know what, that's normal. Like, it's okay. Like, get it out. Like, it's totally fine to cry and feel frustrated and just with being mom life. And I think for them to have just that little bit of space to be like, I need to be emotional and like to share with somebody who might understand what's going on with me has been really helpful. But then also I'm going in there and saying, hey, can you go comment on this person's post, or can you go welcome this person in, or congratulate these people? And so they're going in and they're, commenting and congratulating. And so it's boosting the engagement in the team page, and other people are seeing it. And then now more people are coming in and congratulating and posting instead of just liking a photo. So I think that helps as well, of getting more people to just post and congratulate and not just read and move on, because that's really what this community is about, is encouraging and empowering each other. And so the more that we can like guide them to go do that and remind them to go do that, they'll go do it. So that's really helped me in this next quarter. For me, it's more about, I've had 2 coaches and like 1 coach each month. And I'm like, okay, well, my first coach in January stopped talking to me. I can see she read my messages. And I'm like, okay, you can read my messages. Are you okay? Like, I'm at this point genuinely worried about you. Nothing. So I was like, all right, lesson release. And then my coach last month, she's already made Success Club. My new coach from last week has already made Success Club, is Emerald. I'm like, okay, so now if I just focus on the small quantity of people versus, or quality versus over quantity, I can create so much more depth and so much more volume base and helping more people, building a better business versus trying to create a lot of people in and then not really building, because then I'm all scattered all over the place trying to help them. So I think that helps too, with just figuring out your mindset first, getting your mindset clear, coming back to the joy and having fun when people are leaving, and then just bringing it back to that community aspect of it. And the more people that are engaged, the more that they're not going to want to leave, because they don't want to leave that community. So that's just my tips. I had a rough first couple months of the year.
No, listen, Alicia, I think thank you for obviously your vulnerability and sharing all of that. I think the vast majority of us that are on the call, I mean, like, you're experiencing the same struggles. I mean, Alicia, as you were sharing, lots of this, lots of head nods, like, yep, me too, sister. Absolutely. That happened to me. So I think that's good. The 5 people, I have a question on that. Okay. You mentioned the 5 people of your PS coaches that you are doing this one-on-one. How did you identify those 5?
I had them fill out a Google form.
Okay.
So I just posted it in my team page and my team email, and that's all I did. And I happen to have just exactly 5 that filled it out, but it gave me such a better idea. And they're from all over within my downline. I mean, I have some that are like 2 levels deep, some that are like 10 levels deep. And to me, I want to create growth in my downline, no matter where they are, and help them no matter where they're at. And most of them don't have active uplines. So like, some of them have a star diamond that doesn't work the business anymore, another star diamond, it doesn't work the business anymore. And then it's me. And I'm like, okay, well, guess I'm your help right now. And so some of them just really need that help. And it just really helps to have that Google form of like, hey, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What are you struggling with? What are you rocking? So every single day we come into this post, and I'll give them maybe a little bit of help, or like what my focus is for the week. And then each day it's, what did you do well yesterday? And then what can you work on today to make today better than yesterday?
Yeah.
And even if it's like, hey, I invited 2 people and I didn't invite anybody yesterday, that's a win. And so it's about celebrating all those small wins, not saying, oh, you have to invite 100 people a day, where I think some people get so overwhelmed. It's like, let's just focus on small little things each day and just focus on those wins. But still focusing on the things that we need to work on and improving each day, so that way we can become better.
That's good. That's good. Anyone have questions for Alicia on that? So April, I know you mentioned you do something very similar as well. I like that idea. Not only that, it shows you, number one, who's really engaged in doing this. Number 2, it shows, and it ultimately will bring you joy too, Alicia, like all of you joy, because you're working with those that actually want to do something with this business versus it being and taxing you and and I hate to say working with those that are kind of toxic to your organization, Alicia, but you mentioned that it's like, how do you find joy in this business? By working with the people that want what you want. So, okay.
Exactly. You want to find the joy in it, but you also don't want to drag people to do it.
Absolutely. That's exhausting. Like, who wants to do that? Who wants to do that? So absolutely. Thank you so much. Any questions for Alicia at all? No.
I don't have a question, but you called me out, so now I feel like, I'm the person that will, when it says, do you want to look at yourself? You want to be on video. I'm like, heck to the no. So I'm usually just kind of shy and nervous here, but I really appreciate all of you guys sharing so much stuff, because I'm so intimidated sometimes by, it's crazy because I'm intimidated by pretty people. Like when I'm on Instagram, I'm like, oh, they're so pretty. I don't know. Like that goes through my head. And my husband's like, will you just, change your mindset and just invite everybody? Like somebody's looking at you that way. But that's just me. So, but I'm glad that you guys shared all this, because I've kind of been feeling like, it's hard because, right, 6 years doing this, I'm more helping my down line. And sometimes it's getting out of that mindset that they're not going to count for elite or whatever, but they will count for income. And so my husband, we were sitting at dinner the other night, and in front of the kids, I signed up this person. She hit Success Club, Emerald, all these things. He was like, what will that do for you to get to elite? And I'm like, oh my gosh, stop putting this pressure. And I was like, I need to build income. And I was like, and I want my girls to build income because those are the people that are going to stick around. So if I keep teaching them this whole, I do I love the elite. I love the whole thing, but I'm like, with income. And sometimes, for me watching Melanie Mitro, decide hey, I'm going to go for income now. And then where is she on the vault, on the list? And that was really eye-opening to me, because I'm like, she's not, she wasn't number one coach, but I know she's making bank, but she started focusing on family income. And so I'm like, that's what I want. So I have people under my husband, and I have him built, and, I have myself, and I have other business centers. So I know in the long haul, that's what's going to make me more income. So but something that I've been doing is I have been doing the pod thing. So every month I just put all new coaches. I just say, who are my new coaches, or anyone who wants to restart. And I do so now it says April, new coach pod, and I just put them in, and I start with all the same things that they have to do. And so I have a new coach checklist. And so I just said, once you're finished this, then we'll start. And so that was big this month, because I was like, not until everybody in here has done it, then we'll start. And I was like, if not, I'll just be waiting, because I'm so tired of investing all my time and, and nobody's showing up. So I'm like, what? And then they were like, oh crap. So I was like, drop a GIF. If not, I'm not coming back in. And so they were like, okay, we're ready. I'm in, and so I did that. So that's been really successful. And all my people hit Success Club last month, because I think it was just energy and people getting excited. And I had people who really wanted it. Instead of, when you just sign someone up and you just throw them in, instead these were people that no, I want to be a part of it. And I think it felt a little more exclusive, because I said I was doing a personal pod with them. And then something else that's been really helpful for me is I'm doing quarterly challenge groups now. I used to do a challenge group every month, but now I'm doing quarterly. And what I've been doing is, before they can get in my challenge group, they have to go through my prep. I have a prep task document. So they go through, so I don't do prep week anymore. So I just do all my prep tasks in a document. And then they have to go through all of them. And then I did a video at the beginning to tell them what this is about. And then, so it's take your before picture, your program, all that other stuff. And at the bottom, I say answer, message me when you're finished and answer these questions. How many kids do you have? What is your, tell me a fun fact about you. And then they will message me, hey, I finished. These are my answers. And then I actually welcome them into my challenge group. Welcome Whitney. She's a mom of 3. She loves walking on the beach. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, me too. And so the cool part is it created this community where people they're connecting with people immediately. But the other side of this too is, I will say January, I will say, I had whatever SE, a high number, half of the people never filled it out. they never even messaged me. I'm like, oh my gosh. And that was like so eye-opening that, so that means for the past 6 years, I've been putting people in my challenge group that probably never even did prep week, or like, they were never even committed. And honestly, if once they're in the group, I lose them. Like if they don't show up, like that's my baby and that's where I show up. So like, I'm like, I can't imagine how many people I've probably lost over the past 6 years. They never even did, like you spent $160 and you couldn't even do prep week. So that was really eye-opening for me, because now I never put them in my challenge group. So I don't have this huge challenge group with all these duds. I have people that actually want to be there. But then it lets me know who my people are. So those are going to be the people. If you can do prep week, you could be a coach. If you couldn't even do prep week, like you're not even on my radar as a person. Like, so I'm like, I have it like that when he's laughing, but I have them like on a list. Cause like, and randomly I'll be like, I'm just checking on you. And they're like, oh yeah, I still need to do the prep week test. I'm like, that was from January, and so, but then I kind of, it lets me know their mindset. Like you're not really in it. I can't get butthurt if you don't show up. Like this is on you. Like you couldn't even just look at a document. And so that's something that's been really helpful, because then I know where I'm investing my time. And I also don't let my feelings get hurt by people not getting results or not doing things. I know that that's 100% on them. And so it helps me just focus on my people. So those are the only new things I'm doing this year.
Those are great, Farron. Thank you. You were shy to speak up. Come on. You just shared, your quarterly challenge group. You just shared some nuggets there. Thank you. Okay, April, you had something. I know.
Yeah, so I just thought of this because we do have 10-star as a team on our radar and goal.
Yeah.
And obviously, anytime you set some type of goal, like going live and putting your goals out there, I think are really important, because I think of the energy bus. It's like you not talking about it is equivalent of just being like, okay, I'm going to take this bus for a ride. Who wants to get on without a destination? And so obviously did a live in my team page and spoke to what happens when we do that. Not just like, let's be 10-star to be a 10-star team, but we're mostly moms. And my pain point is thinking about orphans or babies that ever need or want anything. So what can we do? Obviously, you get a large bonus with the 10-star. So as a team collectively, when we do that, we will dedicate a large chunk of money to a charity that we choose as a team. And it's like Operation Save the Babies. And so every time you change a life or something, it's like, Operation Save the Babies, I got somebody started. And so like, I feel like that collectively, just that's a pain point for so many people that tugs on your heartstrings. And so I tell them, here's how you make a difference no matter where you are in our organization. And that has just been like, literally, I can't talk about it when I tell them like, here's the update or things like that. I can't talk about it in my team page on a live without crying, because that's how much, like, that's how important it is to me. So I just wanted to share, when you have a really, really, really good why, like team goal, that's going to also tug on like, like attracts like, so having a lot of moms, like that's been so motivating to people. And I had something else, but I forgot, but that was the main thing, that like, it's a lot easier to get behind something where what you getting to diamond and you getting to this rank is going to help, versus like, let's be a team, 10-star team.
So tell me this, April, love it. And I think all of us love that idea. So how do you continue to reinforce that, like on your calls? And I know you said you went live, but like, how do you continue to keep that top of mind with your team?
So like, I have a new coach that has 6 kids, like is crushing her results. She just hit Success Club, her first month as a coach. So I share, hey, congratulations, Nina. She just hit Success Club, literally no excuses. She's been living in her inbox. She just hit Success Club. She's going to be Emerald next week. Operation Save the Babies. We are so proud of you. Thank you so much for being a part of it. So or if somebody makes an awesome post, I share it into the team page, like Operation Save the Babies. You guys are crushing it. I can't wait for, we're getting closer, kind of thing.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And Alicia, you just mentioned, I mean, such a big heart, like to make this, bigger than just a 10-star. It's like, okay, so what can we do to reinvest that back into the community, into others, and to give back? Because at the end of the day, that's what we are. I mean, all of you are servant leaders, right? It's like, how can you continue to serve others? So April, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my gosh. I just looked down at my clock. We're there. I can't believe this. Okay. Was this helpful? Girls, was this helpful? Yes. Okay. Lots of head nods. Okay, great. Great, great, great. Okay. So I have a lot of notes. I don't know if you all took some notes. Like I've got some serious notes going on here. Morgan, first of all, thank you so much for sharing. Obviously your roadmap. I think that was great. Your weekly calls, your sequence, that was awesome. I mean, the text messaging, something to consider for those, right? That's the second thing that I kind of took away. Automated sneak peeks. I mean, listen, I know I don't need to repeat, but lots of really good stuff came out of this call. So again, the goal is not to implement everything that all of us are doing. It's really just to pick, or maybe it's just continue doing the things that you're doing, or maybe just add, tweaking some of the things that you're doing. So, okay, remember, no call next week. It will be the week of the 26th. I will post that, but just put that date in your calendar, the week of the 26th. As we get close, we'll talk through, in terms of a topic so that you can all come prepared in advance of that call. Sound good? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I will send this recording out. Have a beautiful week, and I will see all of you in 2 weeks.